What's the first piece of business the Mavericks have to take care of just 2 weeks away from NBA free agency? And the latest on Cooper Flagg's visit coming to Dallas. All that and more coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella, and our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs. What is the first piece of business that the Mavericks got to take care of just 2 weeks away from NBA free agency? The latest on Jason Kidd and his coaching staff. Cooper Flagg coming to Dallas tomorrow. We've got a lot to get to on today's episode of the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hopefully you had a safe and happy Father's Day weekend. As gentlemen, we've got Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight, 2 weeks away from NBA free agency, 9 days away from the NBA draft. It feels like things are starting to ramp up and get kind of busy as we get toward the NBA offseason. Tim Cato, what's going on?
Nothing much. Had a lovely weekend. Got a brand new laptop. Was without one all weekend. Felt a little naked.
Oh, wow.
How you feel now? You feel clothed now? You feel
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, with a DLLS shirt.
That's right. That's right. Because
On DLLS shirt day.
Yeah, I'm like a polar bear in Arlington, Texas right now or whatever. Like,
What the
I don't know
hell?
what's going on
What
right
the
now.
hell? What the hell?
I missed the memo, evidently.
Why?
Well, I'm wearing a green shirt. My favorite All-City shirt is in the DLLS Stars colorway. Y'all are all wearing the same exact shirt.
We
You
are
should
wearing.
have seen the looks I got leaving the house with both the hat and the shirt.
Your wife was probably like, Stein, we get it. You work for DLLS.
But you say, no, you don't
it.
get it. It's Spirit Week.
Right. It is Spirit Week here on the DLLS Sports Network, as well as, of course, the All City Network. And we're kicking it off this week with a huge partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. As part of All City Spirit Week, we're teaming up with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, an incredible group creating life-changing mentorships for kids across the country. We've set a goal for $10,000, but we love to smash right through that, of course, and we can with your help. You can donate using the link in the video or description, and if you want to make an even bigger impact, you can sign up to become a big by visiting bbbs.org/allcity. Let's do something meaningful together this week, as 100% of the proceeds will be going to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So if you want to get involved with us here on Spirit Week for DLLS Sports and across the All City Network, please do so by visiting bbbs.org/allcity to become a big today.
Kat is walking away right now, of course. She came in and made fun of me wearing a shirt that is different than all of y'all. I do want to go on the record and say tomorrow's theme for Spirit Week is Surprise Guest Day. And our head of production, Katia Vialba, spoiled our surprise guest in the company's important announcement Slack channel.
Come on!
To everyone except me.
But
except
yeah,
me.
it was only up for a
apparently.
little bit. Kevin did not see the message, so Kevin will be surprised
Tomorrow
tomorrow.
you are going to be shocked.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I'm
But
so excited.
Tim Cato and Tanner both. So, Kat, criticize my shirt all you want. Criticize my shirt. But just, we all have skeletons in our closet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't
KG
see it.
did
I
not
didn't
see
see it. So I'm going to be
The
genuinely
host is going to
surprised.
be on the floor.
The one who probably needs to be prepared for the guest is not going to even know who it is going
and
to
this
be.
is an A-plus guest. Not to suggest Brian Damaris is not an A-plus guest.
Oh, my God.
Although maybe I kind of just did.
Shout out to Brian Damaris who hung out with us last week. Shout out to
Look,
Mr. Crazy.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I did see the message.
You did see the message, but you just
I
choosing to
can't-
forget?
No, I can't read.
Okay, got it.
So-
that's
okay.
a problem if you're going to be a beat writer. So I don't know how that works.
I
for
can
you.
write.
Well, you're a writer,
You can
not a
write,
reader.
but
Right.
you can't read your own writing.
He can only read his own stuff.
Got it.
You know
Got
how
it.
he always says, this was a banger.
Yeah.
We have a request from Mr. Crazy in the chat. Quote, I wish Bobby was my big brother.
I actually don't have any younger siblings, so hit me up.
There you go, Mr. Crazy. There it is right there. Bobby is volunteering to be your big brother live here on the show. Let's get into it, gentlemen, because we got a lot to talk about today. We are 2 weeks away from NBA free agency beginning. The Mavericks have got a lot of work to do themselves as they prepare for this upcoming year. That all starts, of course, on June 25th with the NBA draft, where they're going to be taking, of course, Cooper Flagg out of Duke. We'll get more on what Cooper Flagg's visit is going to potentially look like tomorrow with our national.
You sure they're
NBA
drafting Flagg?
I am.
Recent evidence suggests
recent
that they
evidence does highly suggest that they're taking.
I think you're onto something.
Cooper Flagg. I think I was. But look, when we look at the business of the Mavericks, where does it start? Because there's a lot of it. Bobby Marks, who of course is a friend of the show on the DLLS Mavs podcast, made a very interesting suggestion in his latest piece discussing what a potential contract offer could and should look like for the Mavericks if they're trying to get some work done to add to this team. He suggested that Kyrie Irving sign a 3-year, $113 million contract to open up Tim Cato some room for the Mavericks to be able to get some business done. What do you think about that suggestion, and what is the first piece of business the Mavericks got to get done here?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Kyrie. I think that's likeliest to be the first thing that we hear about. It doesn't preclude the idea that Dallas maybe could make a trade before July 1st, before this year's salary or this year's salary cap transitions into next year's books, but there's going to be more teams with cap space available after July 1st. If Dallas were to make a trade, it probably hinges on the KD trade happening first. A lot of teams, any teams with that type of flexibility are going to be interested in trying to get involved with KD. So even if Dallas has stuff that is lined up or tentatively agreed to, or at least ideas about how they could potentially move and get under the second apron, it is going to take, I would imagine it would probably take, the big domino to fall, which is the KD trade. This is often how it kind of looks in the, in free agency during the offseason, is that, a lot of teams kind of wait around for the biggest move, and then teams kind of fill in their smaller moves in and around that. If Kyrie opts out, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent with full bird rights, which means his cap hold, which is to say basically just the amount on the sheet that signifies Kyrie Irving can be re-signed with bird rights for Dallas. That would be about $60 million. It's 150% of a player making over the average NBA salary based off what they made last season, which was for Kyrie, that was $40 million. So $60 million. And you said, Bobby Marks' idea is 3 for what, 112, 113?
3 for 113.
3 for 113. Let's say it's that. I don't know.
Would love to know how he arrived at that round figure.
So the idea would be the $35 million price tag next season is $8 million lower than Irving's player option and gives Dallas greater flexibility to operate below the second apron. The Mavericks now have access to the $5.7 million tax mid-level exception to sign a temporary replacement for Irving. Now, if he opts into that $43 million salary, the Mavericks only have the veteran minimum exception and are over the second apron at that point.
Yeah, it's, any contract, any extension they sign with Kyrie Irving is going to be under $60 million, which is going to be his cap hit as far as I believe that's correct. And so whatever happens, Dallas will, the order of operations that we're going to see when we hit July 8th or 6th, when the moratorium ends, it is going to be Kyrie signing first because it's going to be under the cap hit, but there are going to be a bunch of moves. It also could be a situation where Dallas announces, or there's reporting that Dallas and Kyrie have agreed to a contract, but the terms, the money isn't actually out there because they're waiting for all the other moves to go through to triangulate the exact figure that they can sign while also getting their moves done. That said, I would expect, just based off kind of the cap logistics of it, that you are going to see Kyrie in some sort of agreement announcement as pretty much, quite possibly, Dallas's first move. There's just going to be a bunch that happen in and around that.
My instinct is that I would imagine Kyrie would be hoping for a more robust 3-year offer than that. So I think we have to factor that in. I mean, look, the first thing that's going to happen is decided by the calendar. Kyrie Irving's decision on his player option for next season is June 24th, which is 5 days sooner than most players. Most players, that option is on the 29th. So on the 24th, the day before the draft, by then we will have to know if he is indeed proceeding fully to free agency or just picking up the last year of his deal. This draft on June 25th, I mean, look, we've talked about it before. Countless know-it-alls like me have been saying that this is going to be a super active June. And we just saw the Memphis Grizzlies and the Orlando Magic uncork an absolute
banger,
top shelf blockbuster on June 15th, 10 days before the draft. You don't normally see a trade that big on June 15th. I mean, look, the NBA Finals are going on. It's 2-2. Game 5 is Friday night tonight in OKC. 28 other teams have firmly moved on to the offseason and are already at work. And that trade should slam that point home. So how active will the Mavs be on draft night to manufacture more optionality for themselves? I don't know the answer on June 16th. I wish I did, but that is a big focus, and it's my job, and that's what I'm going to try to do, is to figure out what they're going to do on draft night, because we know they like to do stuff.
They shouldn't wait until draft night. They should be busy right now.
They are.
Don't be super active on July 1st, June 30th.
They are. It's just can they get done what they want to get done?
I think it would behoove them to do everything they could to do that. And going into an offseason where they don't have any space and it's going to take a lot of finagling just to get anything more than the minimum. Ordinarily, you would say, okay, well, they should only just focus on getting the minimums because the minimum market will be competitive. If I'm the Mavs, I'm not doing that. I'm still aiming big. Who is the best player that I can get realistically? Mark Stein, feel free to tell me to stop dreaming. But rumors floating about every player on the Pelicans being available. There's a guy on the Pelicans, Trey Murphy, who I think would be awfully good next to Cooper Flagg on the wing.
No.
I
Damn.
said, don't break my heart,
Stein
Mark,
said,
please.
shut it down, okay?
Who wouldn't want Trey Murphy?
I know.
It's the same thing like with Herb Jones. Who wouldn't want Trey Murphy or
what
Herb Jones?
I'm saying is
the trade price for those guys is going to be exorbitant. I mean, you just saw what Desmond Bane went for.
No, I know.
And I'm not saying every trade's going to get – not every trade we're going to see from now on.
They got back like no good players in that deal, but
I
think the Mavs do have good players. But what I'm saying is I'm trying to get good players. I'm not just doing the thing of, well, all right, let's let Kyrie figure it out. Let's draft Cooper Flagg and sign 2 minimum guys. No, because that is a one-way ticket to your white-knuckling all season trying to make the plan. I'm trying to get good players.
I mean, I would imagine that
give them something good to get
New Orleans.
Mavs have plenty of good stuff to give up.
New Orleans has made the decision that they're going forward with Zion Williamson, and they've got the number 7 pick right now, and they're trying to improve their team around Zion, and they're talking about a lot of things and looking at a lot of things, but like the price point to acquire either Trey Murphy or Herb Jones will be significant. What exactly significant means? It's all over the. I mean, after he has and that's the thing with the Bane trade, like you said, there is no primo veteran in that deal, so that's why
or primo good pick.
But it's
let's be honest.
It's like you focus on the pick. You just hear 4 picks in a swap. Oh my God! Now 2 of those picks are Orlando's in 28 and 30. If Orlando has the team they're supposed to have, those picks probably aren't going to be great. Mm-hmm. And number 16 in this draft. Is that going to be great? The best one is the Phoenix/Washington one in 2026 that has so many swaps and O's, and I can't even track what that actually is right now. But also, Orlando had to pay a premium to get off KCP's deal as well. Yeah. They went, the Magic are an ultra conservative
you know
organization.
Who you don't have to pay a premium to get off of? Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. They're worth positive. KCP, not. KCP, former future Mav, by the way.
So, me not shooting you down, let's pretend that didn't happen. How do you get Trey Murphy?
Murphy.
Are you certain Cooper Flagg will be better than Trey Murphy?
Yeah.
You're certain?
I'm higher on Trey Murphy than I think most are, but Yes.
Cooper Flagg is supposed to be a franchise player, guys.
Yeah.
I
Trey
just wanted
Murphy.
I just wanted to lob a grenade.
In 25,
I just wanted to see.
In 25-26, he makes $25 million. Conveniently, you add P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, and 2 first-round picks together. You get pretty close to that. New Orleans might have some bad money. Maybe you can add even more to get there.
So you want to trade?
You're giving them PJ and
I-
Gafford from Trey
I
Murphy?
love.
Yes.
I love Trey.
Okay.
Murphy.
Yeah, easy.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
You want to basically exhaust every last premium
Yes.
asset this team has, but you're not addressing the backcourt.
4-year fully guaranteed contract at like $110, $120 million.
Yeah, you are right, dude. And that
all-star
you just-
potential on the wing.
You just said you just showed a big. Why did they go for Bane?
Yeah,
A big reason
same
why
thing,
Orlando went for Bane is because he's under contract for 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm not diminishing that, but like, do you want to exhaust premium trade assets and you're not touching the backcourt?
Yep.
Wow.
Like your conviction. Not sure I agree, but
You're talking to the world's
Matt-
biggest Trey Murphy the third fan outside of
man
maybe
knows what
Trey
he
Murphy the
wants.
second.
Man knows what he wants.
I'm sure Mavericks fans will have something to say about that in terms of giving up potentially PJ and Gafford and some first-round picks to go get
He's way better than both of them.
Trey Murphy. That's a lot. We'll see what Mavericks fans have to say about that in our chat. Let's take our first break, though, here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, let's get the latest from our guy Mark Stein when it comes to Cooper Flagg's visit tomorrow, the latest on Jason Kidd and his coaching staff, and much more, all coming up here on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Impart Today can help you get it. Impart Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day of their lives. We've all been to the big box stores, and you can wander around, get lost, talk to somebody who was doing lights or patio furniture or nails or woods, planks. Wood. Maybe they were doing light bulbs. They're not doing flooring every day. Not like Impart Today. Impart Today is your best bet because they live and breathe flooring. They're going to be with you every step of the way. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DLLS. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit ImpartToday/DLLS for full details.
Let me put some money in your pocket when it comes to Cash App. Cash App is a safe, easy, and fast way to send, receive, and transfer money to family and friends. It's easy to set up with instant setup. Just enter your phone or email. There's no bank account needed when it comes to Cash App. It's your money. You shouldn't have to wait around and get it, and Cash App can help you do that. It's your money, and you shouldn't have to wait. With Cash App, it's safe and secure as well. If you're about to send your money to a scam, Cash App gives you an alert to let you know, hey, you might not want to send your money there, and Cash App protects you when it comes to your money. For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash, and there's no catch as well. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code DLLS Mavs in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Remember, terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Appreciate all of you.
Trey Murphy the third.
A lot of Mavericks fans are liking your idea of giving up PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and some picks to be able to go get
Let
Trey
me also,
Murphy the
if
third.
AD is down to play 5, Flagg, PJ, AD front court is one of the best in the league. Unfortunately, I don't think we live in that reality. But like, if AD is going to play the 4, and you're going to keep AD for 3 years, you need to find some wings, man. You need to find some wings that can shoot.
We're not take the first round picks out of it. Would you do PJ and Daniel for Herb Jones?
The money doesn't work. Also, no, I don't think I would. He only has like 1 year left on his deal, I think, or 2. You got to pay him soon.
Yeah.
As far as Herb Jones is concerned, we'll have the conversation at some point down the road. We won't get into it today, but Anthony Davis needs to play the 5. That's all I'm going to say about that on today's show. But let's get into it because we got a lot in the notebook of our very own Mark Stein.
If he's the surprise guest, you can tell him tomorrow.
Is Trey Murphy the surprise guest?
Trey Murphy is not.
No.
I think he was referring to Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Or Cooper Flagg. Is he the surprise guest?
Cooper Flagg, probably. He will be in town, but I don't think swinging by the DLS studios is on his list.
All right.
You never know, though.
Okay.
Never know.
Well, that's a perfect segue to dialing up the Stein line here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Our guy Mark Stein was busy with his buddy Jake Fisher over the weekend, cooking up all kinds of news and notes to report on when it comes to Kevin Durant, the Mavericks, and all kinds of stuff. But let's get into it starting tomorrow As, of course, we are 9 days away from the NBA draft, Mark's time, but a big day tomorrow as the Duke sensation, the kid from Duke, Jason Kidd, will be visiting
from Duke,
the Dallas
face
Mavericks
to face.
tomorrow.
I imagine he does call him Cooper.
I would imagine so. Let's hope so.
I bet he's a Coop guy. If I
Or
had to
maybe
guess.
even Mr. Flagg.
Coop. I don't know. J-Kid did kind of create LD as the moniker for Luka. I don't think anyone called him LD before that, so maybe he'll call him CF.
So what does that start to look like tomorrow with Cooper Flagg coming to visit?
I have to say they've been a little more tight-lipped with the details than I would have enjoyed to this point. I mean, look, he's going to be here. He's here Tuesday. I think does it spill into Wednesday? I know there's going to be a big fancy dinner as part of it all. Jason Kidd, I think, kind of said that too when he visited us in studio right around a month ago. Whether he actually gets on the floor, I'm still trying to nail that preciseness down. There's no need for it, though, because, again, they're drafting him. They don't need to, there's not a workout involved. They don't need to look at him. They're taking him with the number 1 pick. And I just kind of do wonder, because this is 2025 and everybody likes to play journalists. Are we going to get Twitter detectives who spot him around town? Is Tim Cato going to drive around trying to follow him?
What restaurant should I post up at that has the highest percentage chance? Just
Nick and Sam's.
Quite possible.
I'm gonna withhold comment.
That would be an educated guess, just because Nick and Sam's is what it is. So a lot of anticipation, though, with him coming in, and with the draft being less than 10 days away. What's just your sense in terms of the excitement around the organization with Cooper Flagg, presumably, of course, being the number 1 overall pick?
I mean, it's like we got another 8-9 days, but I mean, it feels like it's almost here, but it also feels like it's a long time away. I think.
Is it still recording? All right, yeah, we just
Keep going.
yes, keep going.
I mean, I'm more curious what is Bobby again? My baseline for Mavericks excitement is Bobby Carella losing his mind when the Mavs swung a trade for Omax Prosper. So just
is that the baseline of?
I was excited because they were aggressive. They went for it, and they.
How excited are you to see? I'm sure there's going to be some kind of social media footage of Cooper Flagg hanging out with Mavs officials. So when you start seeing that stuff,
I mean, I was excited about them winning the lottery. I don't think if there's some sick video of him dunking or something, that'd be cool. But I mean, it is what it is. It's I think every Mavs fan
for
knows
sure wearing 32. Do we think that's pretty certain?
Recent developments.
Evidence suggests,
But I haven't dug into the numerology of it. Is that what would be what did he? That's what he wore at Duke.
No, he wore number 2 at Duke,
And that is Lively's?
that's Derek Lively's current number right now.
And formerly J. Kidd's? 32 is what he wore in high school?
I believe that's what he wore at Mount Verde. Yes.
I thought you guys were going to be able to just reel off these things for me.
We're still
Bad at
digging into our
numbers.
Cooper Flagg, our deep Cooper Flagg knowledge, but I suggested that he wear 18, with the idea being that the Mavericks had a 1.8% chance of winning the draft lottery, so he should honor that throughout his career and wear number 18 here in Dallas. But I do believe that means Omax Prosper would have to give up the number 18, or no, he wears number 8. So actually, no, I think 18 is available. So there you go.
18 would be funny.
18 I think would be amazing.
It'd be fitting. It'd be apt.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome for him to do. But at the same time, let's just keep going here. So with Cooper Flagg coming in tomorrow, let's get the latest in when it comes to Jason Kidd.
Bobby have a sourcing call? Where do you go?
Probably did have a sourcing call. We'll let him go and take that. It's rare for him to get sourcing calls, but we'll let him take it. Let's dive into it, because I want to start on this side of the perspective when it comes to the Jason Kidd thing, because I'm sure, Mark, you're as plugged in as anyone. The New York side of this thing won't let this go. What is the reason for that, based off of just not only your reporting, but what they may be feeling and why they're not letting this go with the possibility of Jason Kidd coming to New
Look,
York?
I think it's because Jason Kidd was at the top of the Knicks list. And I think my read on it is I think the Knicks probably felt like he was the most gettable of the 5 coaches with jobs who they pursued. To be clear, they got just as firm a no from the Mavs as they got from everybody else. I reported over the weekend that Billy Donovan and the Bulls are now actively working on a contract extension. So, and look, all the guys reporting this, these guys are my friends, all great reporters. They know the Knicks. You know, they have their sources on it. Ian Begley, Stephen Bondy, Steve Popper, they're all reporting the same thing, that the Knicks have not abandoned hope. I can just report, I mean, my read of it, my sense of it. Jason Kidd right now is the co-chair of the Cooper Flagg Welcoming Committee. I mean, Nico Harrison and Jason Kidd are at the front of the Mavs receiving party for when Cooper Flagg gets to town. From what I can gather, that is Jason Kidd's focus right now. And, you know, you guys know I've said it. I've been saying it the whole time as consistently as I can. I mean, he is very settled here. He is the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks firmly said no to an approach from the Knicks.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Jason Kidd is under contract. You know, the Mavericks have complete control of this situation to say no. And the reason it was always likeliest to end up like this is because for them to say yes, even if, you know, whatever they feel in the front office, even if Nico Harrison was in a position where he doesn't, you know, he wasn't the guy who hired Jason Kidd, you know, even if he felt like, you know, if he walks, then he could go get his own guy. Even if he felt like that, there was another person that could say no. And Patrick Dumont, the governor, who, you know, the governor of the team, who is in a situation where he doesn't want this negative news cycle to continue. And there's, you know, it's really hard to look at a head coach leaving and not see it as a continuation rather than a celebration, as Dallas is now days away from drafting Cooper Flagg, rather than, you know, a fan base being revitalized. If there is a head coach exiting as well, that only doubles down and adds to what has been, you know, a very turbulent past few months. And the optics of losing a coach, of allowing a coach to go, but also the optics of a coach that, you know, isn't 100% locked in, you know, views Dallas as the ideal situation, one that he wants to be a part of. And as you say, you know, it's Jason Kidd, who does seem, you know, like he's there. He's the guy talking about the kid from Duke. He's at these, you know, he's at the, you know, the welcome party. He'll be there tomorrow. But the optics of that, if you were to say yes, if you were to allow him to be interviewed by the Knicks, and at that point, if he interviews, like he's probably going, the optics of that are just a continuation of what Dallas has been trying so hard and what they've lucked into avoiding. So,
I mean, look, we've talked about this as well. At the end of his career, the Mavericks thought they were re-signing Jason Kidd in 2012-13, and he decided at the 11th hour to go to the Knicks, and people remember that, and that happened, and it's fact. And so that does, I think, factor into this presumption that maybe it will happen again. And it is also true that after one season coaching the Nets, Jason Kidd moved on to Milwaukee. But I would just submit, as we talked about, I can't remember if it was last week or maybe even before that, there is the narrative about how Jason Kidd ended up in Milwaukee, and the point that I want to add that is conveniently omitted from that historical discussion, Mark Lasry, someone who is very, very close with Jason Kidd, ended up as the co-owner of the Bucks. And if Mark Lasry didn't end up co-owning the Bucks and having basically equal say with Wes Edens at the time, that was a huge factor in Jason Kidd going from the Nets to the Bucks. So, like, that kind of situation is, you know, that's not at play here. You know, you guys just said it too. I mean, Jason Kidd, as we've talked about, as we lived on the DLS set, he has been the Maverick spokesman for all things Flagg since they won the lottery. That's how the team has been using him. So I just think all those points tend to be overlooked in this discussion, and it just becomes, well, he went to the Knicks as a player, so it's going to happen again. I mean, I think that is a big genesis for why this stays out there.
Let's take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, let's talk more about what's happening with Kidd and his coaching staff, plus the blockbuster trade involving the Orlando Magic and the Memphis Grizzlies. All that more coming next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
First, I love Frosties. Do you love Frosties? Who else loves Frosties here? Everyone.
Everyone loves Frosties.
Everyone loves a good chocolate Frosty. I love
Especially
mine
Oreo
with
brownie
fries.
one,
They got
for
vanilla Frosties too, but Wendy's is unveiling a whole lot of new flavors. We got some big news. There are Frosty Swirl and Frosty Fusion flavors that you can get in either chocolate or vanilla. They got strawberry, brownie batter, and caramel. For the Frosty Fusions, they got Oreo brownie, caramel crunch, and Pop-Tart strawberry. Not to mention that, yes, you can still get just that plain classic vanilla and chocolate that you and I both love. Are you a caramel craze fanatic? Are you a strawberry swirl girl? A brownie batter buff? A Pop-Tart strawberry freak with the sweet strawberry sauce and chunks of crazy good Pop-Tarts pieces?
Brownie
Are you an
batter buff
Oreo
over
brownie
here.
stan?
That's
Whatever
right.
flavor you're craving, odds are we've got a Frosty for it. So clock in for a sweet treat anytime, including midnight or later, with Wendy's all-new Frosty flavors. Refresh on a classic? It's got to be Wendy's. At participating U.S. Wendy's, including those very nearby our office, hours may vary by location.
Let me talk to you about Saturday Neon. Saturday Neon was started by two college friends. Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75, including Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State signs. I promise, Tanner, they're going to eventually make one for Baylor as well. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love. LEDs lasting up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying your sign for years to come. They're super easy to install as well. All you need is some provided hardware that comes with it or some 3M command strips to be able to put it up. They're the perfect gift for the favorite sports fan in your life. So make sure you head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. Again, that's SaturdayNeon.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign today.
All right, to fill everyone in, okay, because we've been operating in internet darkness for the last 15 minutes or so. You're watching this. We are coming to you from the past. We're not live on the internet. We are recording this. This entire
I'm in
episode
the
will
past
be
right now.
uploaded. So if you are watching on YouTube and you noticed I just disappeared for 10 minutes, hey, we were trying to figure it out, but we're all good. Everything is fine.
Well, let's continue here as we are dialing up the timeline on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Let's recap for those who may have been in the past and did not see it. Just real quick, before we get to Jason Kidd's assistance, the latest real quick sign on Jason Kidd and where things stand with the Mavericks and the Knicks' continued pursuit.
I feel like from the Mavericks' perspective, they believe that it is over. They've said what they had to say. They rebuffed the Knicks' request to speak with Jason Kidd very firmly and immediately, and they are fully focused on hosting Cooper Flagg tomorrow. That's the sense I get from the organization.
So what about his assistants when it comes to Sean Sweeney, Jared Dudley, and player development coach God Shamgod when it comes to several teams putting the full court press on all three of Jason Kidd's assistants?
Yeah, I have to say that no shortage of the so-called sourcing calls that I field from other teams these days. There are a lot of questions about Dallas because multiple coaches on Jason Kidd's staff, these guys are all in demand. I reported on June 6th, the Spurs want to swipe Sean Sweeney away from the Mavericks and make him the number one assistant on Mitch Johnson's first staff that he's assembling in San Antonio as the full-time successor to Greg Popovich. Corliss Williamson from Minnesota, I reported that Friday, he is already bound for the staff in San Antonio. So, I mean, that is obviously a huge source of curiosity because, Sean Sweeney is as close an assistant to Jason Kidd as we have ever seen. He is the number one assistant here, and he was a finalist for the Phoenix Suns head coaching job this spring. He was a finalist for the Detroit Pistons head coaching job last spring. To me, I think it would be a massive loss to lose him. I'm struggling to even imagine watching Jason. You guys know how spoiled I am. I basically sit right behind a standing where Jason Kidd stands for the whole game. It's hard for me to even imagine not having Sweeney as the lead consultant there because they were together they were together in Brooklyn. They were together in Milwaukee. They've been together here for 4 years. So it would be a stunning development if Sean Sweeney were to join San Antonio's coaching staff, but the Spurs have not backed off their interest. And I think at this point, we do have to acknowledge that this is a real possibility.
It's notable because Sean Sweeney, as we know, has interviewed for head coaching jobs, but there has never been any indication that he would leave Jason Kidd's coaching staff for something that wasn't a head coaching position. You know, he was coaching in Detroit in the 2021 season. Jason Kidd gets hired by the Mavericks. It's the first move he makes. You know, he reunites with Jason Kidd. They had previously coached. You know, he had previously been the lead assistant in Milwaukee when Jason Kidd was head coach there. And they've been connected. They've been tied together. And now there's a situation where, you know, yes, of course it's a different thing. You know, of course, you know, any assistant coach is going to be interested in head coaching jobs. This is quite notable in that it's not that. You know, it's a potential breakup of a partnership that has been previously, you know, more or less connected at the hip.
What about for Jared Dudley and God Shamgod?
Yeah, so Jared Dudley is one of the 3 names that continue to circulate as a prime candidate for the number 1 spot on Thomas Asalo's bench in Memphis. I reported over the weekend that the word around the leagues that the Grizzlies have been looking for an assistant who can forge a strong connection with John Morant. That is among the priorities they're looking for. Adrian Griffin, the former Bucks head coach, is also in the mix. Dale Osborne from the Orlando Magic staff, also in the mix. And Jared Dudley, who is, I mean, we've seen here the kind of relationships that he forges with players. He's also very active on the practice floor. He is not afraid to tell it like it is, has a great working relationship with Anthony Davis from their time as Lakers teammates. And it's not just Memphis. The word on the street is that Cleveland has interest in Jared Dudley as well, because Kenny Atkinson, known to be a Jared Dudley fan, Kenny Atkinson just lost Jordan Knott to the Phoenix Suns.
Coached him in Brooklyn, right?
Coached him in Brooklyn.
Yep.
And Jordan Knott has now become the Suns head coach. So Cleveland has a significant opening on their bench. And, you know, God Shamgod is another one who Orlando, I'm told, is making a really strong push to hire him away from the Mavericks. Jamal Mosley, obviously, Magic's head coach, former Mavericks assistant, has worked with God Shamgod, knows how well Sham connects with players, and prime on that list, when we're talking about the current roster, is Kyrie Irving. If we're going to, you know, Kyrie Irving has a great relationship with Jason Kidd. He has a great relationship with Nico Harrison. His relationship with God Shamgod is another factor that is cited for among the reasons why Kyrie Irving has found such a comfort level in his time as a Maverick. And so, I mean, to me, you know, all 3 of these guys have very pivotal roles here, and losing any of them is, to me, a significant loss.
Not the first time another franchise has pursued God Shamgod. But previously, Dallas, back when Mark Cuban was still owner, obviously they did not allow that to happen. So, you know, he is highly, highly, highly regarded by a lot of teams, a lot of franchises. As you indicated, Mark, you know, there's the obvious connection of Jamal Mosley in Orlando. But yeah, it just kind of depends how it just, I think what we're looking for is, what is this ownership group? What is this front office? How do they value him, as opposed to in the past where Dallas made sure that they were not going to lose God Shamgod, which teams have tried to do before.
What are we supposed to read into this when it comes to Kidd and his staff altogether? with these kind of potential departures and what that means for him. And they've obviously have made official with Jay Triano coming in.
And that I was just going to throw that in. It's not official, but it is behind the scenes done that Jay Triano has been hired to join the staff and basically have a huge voice on offense. The word after the season was, of course, Alex Jensen was the other front of bench assistants last season. Sean Sweeney, Alex Jensen, Jared Dudley. Alex Jensen went to the college game. He took a very lucrative offer at his alma mater, the University of Utah, to go back there and be their head coach. Incredible move for Alex Jensen. The word immediately was the Mavericks wanted a former head coach to fill that void if they could find one, a former NBA head coach. To be honest, that was when Alex Jensen was hired, Mark Cuban was still the operating owner of the team. And if you remember that summer, and this was after the 38 and 44 season when they ended up getting lively in the draft, the word was that Mark Cuban wanted a more experienced addition to the front office, which ultimately led to the hiring of Dennis Lindsey as a special advisor to Nico Harrison. And he wanted a head coach on the bench to join Jason Kidd. They talked to Jeff Van Gundy. They talked to Nate McMillan. They couldn't get either one of those guys. And so they pivoted to Alex Jensen, who was not a former head coach. But as soon as Alex Jensen left, they were like, we want a former head coach. And they went after Jay Triano, and they've successfully negotiated a deal with him. So, I mean, amid all this talk, they have added to the staff. So I think that is another indication to try to, maybe quiet the noise about, well, the Knicks are clinging to hope that they can still get Jason Kidd. I mean, the focus on the coaching front is figuring out the current staff. But, I mean, the reality is 3 very key members of Jason Kidd's coaching staff are being pursued right now. And I don't know how it's going to turn out as we sit here and talk.
Because I think the natural question, or at least the natural observation, would be with prominent assistants leaving, even with the addition of one being a former head coach, could they be in the know of something that could be happening with Kidd that may have them looking around?
It doesn't sound like that's the sense. Based on what I know about all 3 situations, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think all 3 situations individually have their own nuance and details and how we got here.
Sure.
But I don't think it is about where Jason Kidd's future is going. I really don't think that's a factor. And look, this is a desirable place to be. If they lose a coach or 2 or even 3 from that group, there will be a line of assistants out the door who want those jobs.
Understood. Well, let's get into this conversation before we take our next break, because we saw a blockbuster trade go down in the NBA on Sunday where Desmond Bane goes to the Orlando Magic in exchange for what is 4 first-round picks, and most notably Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a 2-time NBA champion, going over to the Memphis Grizzlies. As we start to touch on this conversation, Mark, before we go to our break here, how did this trade come together in the nature at which it did, and what it means as we start to look forward to the offseason?
The Magic have always been an ultra-conservative team. I actually listened to an interview Jeff Weltman did this morning on Mike Bianchi's radio show in Orlando, and he acknowledged that. I mean, that they haven't made an in-season trade, I believe, since Vucevic to Chicago in 2021. So this is a massive swing, but just like how Bobby Carella is got the trade machine out and trying to figure out how the Mavs can acquire Trey Murphy III. I mean, Orlando, when they lost in the playoffs, Jeff Weltman came out and said at his end-of-season press conference, basically said, we are going to be aggressive. We know we're not there. It is time for us to make a move. I mean, but they also don't have a point guard. So that's kind of what catches the eye, that they were willing to give up so much. Look, Desmond Bane is a great shooter. He is an underrated playmaker. He's 26. He's on a long-term contract. And I know there are plenty of Mavs fans who have always had Desmond Bane in their sights, and he's a popular what-if for Mavs fans. Why didn't we draft him? So he is a very accomplished player, but just from my seat, like they're basically looking at they got 4 basic. I mean, Suggs is in the 30 millions, but we're basically talking about 4 $40 million players. Banchero is eligible for a massive extension here just in a couple weeks. So Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, you basically got four $40 million players.
Four great players.
They're very good. They look like a tremendous fit on paper.
And they're young.
But, like, this is your team.
Yeah.
And you don't have a natural playmate, just a natural floor-leading playmaker in that group. And
I think Paolo and Franz are both much further along than like
Tremendous.
Mavs fans could ever hope Cooper Flagg would be
all
as
of
a rookie,
look,
you know.
Paolo,
By comparison.
Franz, and Bane all handle it really well for their positions. Like, they all make really well for their positions. But I'm also watching the finals, and Rick Carlisle's coming up with schemes to get the ball out of SGA's hands. Like, in today's NBA, you gotta have multiple guys who can get it up the floor. And look, I'm normally a guy who I love the teams when they take a big swing. I love when teams are bold. I love when they're risky. So I do not like. I'm just throwing out some of the counters that have been circulating, and it's a fascinating. I mean, if we were the ORLM show or whatever our initials be, we would be. I mean, this thing has a lot of layers.
We'll get into more of that here coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. More reaction to the blockbuster trade with Desmond Bane. Plus, to get you ready for Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Thunder and the Pacers. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. But it's diehard time here on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
Thanks for getting that for me. I'm
No, you're good.
Still trying to solve our tech issues.
No, you're all good. If you want to become a diehard here, go to alldlls.com. Click that diehard button and become part of our DLLS sports family. We've got over 26,400 strong in terms of our subscriber count, and we want you to become part of our DLLS sports family. You get a free t-shirt as well, 20% off of our events. You get access to our member-only Discord and access to all of our tremendous content from our guy Tim Cato covering the Dallas Mavericks, Joseph Hoyt and Clarence Hill Jr. covering the Dallas Cowboys, Jeff Wilson covering those streaking Texas Rangers right now who are playing some good winning baseball, and also Sam Nestler and Sean Shapiro covering your Dallas Stars. Who's going to be the next head coach of the Dallas Stars? They're going to be all over it for you throughout the course of the offseason. Make sure that you go to alldlls.com, click that diehard tab, and become a diehard member. You can also click the QR code that you see on your screen right now. Also coming up on November 15th through the 18th, you can hang out with our Cowboys crew in Las Vegas for the DLLS road trip, November 15th through the 18th, which culminates with a Monday Night Football tilt between your Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Hang out with our entire DLLS Cowboys crew for a fantastic time in Sin City as well. And it is also, Tanner, Spirit Week here on DLLS Sports. Today, of course, we got our favorite T-shirts on. Tomorrow we'll have our fantastic mystery guest who I have no idea who it's going to be. We've got our musical chairs Wednesday. I'm so excited about that. You'll find out where our switch-ups are going to be going for who's going to be hosting what show, and Clarence Hill might even pop up on this show.
I don't know what the deal are. Like, I don't know if we announce it or if you just have to tune in to find out.
We should like reveal like a piece of it like each day.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
it's going to be fun.
So I'll share right now, if Bobby doesn't mind. I will be hosting the DLLS Cowboys show on Wednesday. Now, you've got to tune in on Wednesdays to see who's going to be joining me on the panel for the DLLS Cowboys show on Wednesday. But I will be hosting that show, so looking forward to hanging out.
We'll give you another. None of us are going to be on this show.
Oh, that's another great point. None of us will be on the show on Wednesday when it comes to.
I mean, our haters would say we didn't even have a show today.
It's
unclear if any of this has been recorded, so we'll find it. I'm just kidding. It has been.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay.
How sure? I'm hoping.
Are you as sure as you are sure that Cooper Flagg is going to be better than Trey Murphy?
Yes.
Okay.
Trey Murphy's really good. He's really good.
He is really good. Pelicans got a lot of pieces that a lot of folks
Plus,
want.
he's just a good vibes dude. Like, he just seems like a good vibes guy. He's kind of a poster. Like, he tweets a lot. Like, I'm
good on the podcast.
I'm super into Trey Murphy.
Yeah, the Young Man 3 podcast.
Very, very into Trey Murphy.
Let's finish up here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. A lot.
PJ is a poster too, though.
Say what now?
PJ's made some really good posts.
Oh, they said posters because I was going to say, speaking of posters, Daniel Gaffer's out here posterizing high school kids over the weekend, apparently at some local gym that went viral over the internet. But a blockbuster trade went down. We started to get into it in our last segment with Desmond Bane going from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Orlando Magic. Bobby, I'll start with you on this. What does this mean for the Mavericks? This is a Grizzlies team that's in the same division. Not that it really means anything when it comes to divisions in the NBA. But this is a team in the West that the Mavericks would obviously be competing with to try to get to, the top 6 or in a play-in spot. What does this mean for the Mavericks when they start to look around at what the Grizzlies have done here at this move?
Yeah, I think the Grizzlies got worse from this deal, but they did get a lot of picks, and they could use them to go get a player and be just as good, So I don't want to judge the end result on something that could still be in progress, but the Mavs have to get into the top 10, ideally the top 6, but with Kyrie missing a ton of time, let's just aim for the top 10 and see what happens. Memphis was ahead of them last year. Feel like the Spurs are probably going to get better one way or another. Maybe it'll involve Kevin Durant. And so you're trying to hold off teams from getting better than you as the Mavs finish 10th. And also maybe leapfrogging some teams ahead of you. So maybe this puts the Mavs in position to be better than Memphis next year, depending on what the Grizzlies end up doing. Maybe it doesn't, but it is always a good thing. It is always a good thing when a very good player leaves the West, goes to the other conference. It is always a good thing.
I really hope this is recording because I'm seeing a lot of tweets of people saying, Stein, where is it? Where is the video?
They miss you, man. They miss you.
Man, they were looking forward to the show because we know he had a lot of news on this. Tim, your thoughts on this when it comes to how this hurts the Memphis Grizzlies, but also what this means for Dallas going into next season potentially.
Yeah, love it for Orlando.
I enjoy the move for Orlando. I think it's
I think it's awesome.
Why do we love? Stein? Explain your love.
Because they really needed a guy who defenses were scared of.
The worst three-point shooting team in a decade.
Yeah, they were horrendous from the three-point line. Yeah. Even with KCP, they were awful.
He's a awesome three-point shooter. He is a volume three-point shooter. He is somebody who can create his own shot. He is somebody who can create threes for himself.
Underrated rebounder too.
He's not a
good player. He's a really good player.
I agree. He is not a traditional point guard, but when you look at an offense and if you have total confidence with Desmond Bane creating primary offense early in the shot clock for your team, that is something that you are confident in, and for that reason, I think that Orlando is very scary. I think so. One of your first reactions, Kevin, was, are all these first-round picks, is this Memphis lining up for something? And the name that comes to mind, pretty obvious name, Kevin Durant.
They got loads of They already had a lot of them.
Yeah.
And now they have even more.
Don't see it.
Jake Fisher reported that it is very unlikely that Memphis was hesitant to trade for Jimmy Butler, obviously did not trade for Jimmy Butler. Just because there was no guarantee that Jimmy Butler would sign an extension. It feels like and seems like it's a very similar situation with Kevin Durant. That said, if you're trading for picks, those might not be the names, or Kevin Durant might not be the name the same way that Jimmy Butler wasn't. But clearly Memphis is building towards something. And
Anthony Davis.
There are teams out there that will gamble on Durant without a promise of an extension. I think that's clear. He's got 1 year left at basically $55 million. So Toronto is the one that everybody throws out there, but there are presumably others. I mean, even Minnesota's not on Kevin Durant's wish list. The wish list would have had, I reported this on Sunday, the wish list would have had 4 teams. It would have been San Antonio, Houston, Miami, and the Knicks. But the Knicks made the decision that they are not going to go after Kevin Durant. So San Antonio, Houston, Miami, they're the teams who have had discussions with Phoenix and are places that Kevin Durant has communicated behind the scenes that he would be willing to do an extension. So he isn't just on a 1 year, basically a 1 year rental.
Because he has kind of a de facto no trade clause in the idea that, hey, I could tell teams that I'm not going to sign an extension here. And he could still navigate where he wants.
But if there are teams out there who say, you know what, we'll take you for a year and take our chances, then that de facto no trade clause doesn't really work.
Yeah, it turns out a de facto no trade clause is still not quite as good as Bradley Beal's.
Yeah.
What it does, though, is
Toronto did it with Kawhi, and they got a championship out of it, but, that's very rare.
Memphis now has, going into next year, not like this summer, which technically starts in 2 weeks or whatever, but the year after, they could potentially have a lot of cap space. And also, they got a lot of expiring deals. And if you have a ton of first-round picks and some expiring deals, maybe you're not dumping 12 picks into a Kevin Durant trade, maybe you're dumping like one contract and one pick, or one contract and two picks to get a little, like the way the Mavs, Grant Williams and a 1 for PJ.
Yeah.
Rashawn Holmes and a 1
need to
for
create
Gafford.
they need to create some financial wig room for the renegotiation and extension of Triple J. And that is a huge priority for them. I don't have all the cap specifics at my fingertips, but I'm pretty sure they still got to make at least one more move to be able to do exactly what they want to do there. So, do they need a pick to make that happen?
And I mean, I'm just saying, even beyond that, like, it's just good. That's not to relitigate whatever, but like the great shame of just not having a lot of picks. If you're going to send out a really good player, not getting a lot of picks back, is it makes a lot of little deals harder. Just throwing in, even if it's a lousy one, that's a low dollar contract for 4 years locked in. A team will take that. That is so valuable. And so for Memphis to be able to just trade kind of a good player for a much better player and add in a couple tips to make up the difference, like that is how the Mavs built a team that went to the finals.
Sure.
Like, they made a bunch of trades giving up one first, and all of a sudden you have a great team. They never traded 5 picks for one guy. Like, the most picks they've given up in one trade in a long time, if I'm not mistaken, was 2 for KP, and that was actually like ended up not being that good of a deal. 1 pick for Kyrie, 1 pick for PJ, 1 pick kind of to get Grant Williams became PJ. So if you want to say 2, 1 pick for Gafford. Like, it goes on, and so it's just good to have a ton of picks, even if you're not going to throw them all into one big trade.
Yeah, they're currency. First round picks are currency that allows you to get trades done. Just the fact that it's 4, really stands out. It doesn't matter. Obviously every
also,
front
there's no
office,
guarantee Orlando's picks are going to be bad, by the way. 2030 is a long way away.
I don't think they're amazing picks, and
It's a
every
long
front
way away.
office does. We are past the point. And I think even NBA fans, NBA media, we talk a lot about this, but I think even fans understand that a first round pick is not the same, and not all first round picks are the same. That each type of first round pick, who you're getting it from, what protections it has, when you're getting it, they all have different valuations on them. So seeing 4 first round picks and comparing it to, well, this guy went for 5, this guy went for 6, this guy went for 3, this guy went for 2. The value of the picks is where so much of this comes from. That's the importance. But so when you look at Orlando and Orlando giving up 1, KCP for them was somebody that probably needed a first round pick attached to move on from.
Yeah, get out of the back
So
contract,
like that
yeah.
that is baked into it. The rest that's baked into it is that Orlando is like, we're going to be good. We are confident that this move makes us good. So we don't mind sending our own picks unprotected. You never know. You can end up with a situation where you have a horror season from hell. You have injuries, and all of a sudden, even if your team is
You're
good,
about to draft Cooper Flagg.
yeah, like this is that's obviously why it's scary to trade away unprotected first round picks. But I like it a lot more when the team has the autonomy of saying, we're gonna go get the guy we want that we think makes sense for the roster and the core that we have. And we're also going to give up, first round picks that are our own. So we have autonomy over believing we can avoid the value of this trade being so skewed against us just by being good, just by doing what we do well.
It is just weird that it seemed really unforced. Like, they just traded Bane away for, like, Cole Anthony's fine, KCP's fine, like, whatever. They're both fine players. They'll play minutes for the Grizzlies probably. But, like, did Bane request a trade? Was there drama brewing there? Like, it just seems
all
like so
accounts,
out
he was
of left field.
blindsided by the deal.
It's just like really, I don't know. It's not like he'd spent a lifetime there. But
I
it's
would
just
say
weird.
I would say it's more likely that the Grizz. Remember, the Grizz gave him that deal before the world of first and second luxury tax aprons. So I think the landscape has changed, and so and you heard Zach Kleiman. Jeff Weltman was very candid about what Orlando didn't have on its roster after they lost in the playoffs. And Zach Kleiman was very candid when the Grizzlies season ended that, like, we can't pretend that we're close because we're not close. And so
it's true.
They've taken on this, they're initiating a retooling, but I totally get your tone and your.
Did they trade away their best player?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Because if you're
JJJ is the best
I'm about to say, yeah, he got a defensive player of the year sitting there.
If they are committing, to Morant and Triple J as their star twosome, is that a star twosome good enough to get you somewhere in the Western Conference?
I don't know
Ooh.
if they're committing to Ja.
I'm not sure. Ja might be their third best player.
I don't know if they're
second
committing
best now.
Yeah, I don't know if they were actually committing to Ja. They were committing to something that wasn't the big three, and Desmond Bane was far more tradable than Ja.
It's tough to have three highly paid guys, man. It's really, really
If this
tough.
show was MMPH, people would be hurling some invective at you.
For what?
It's time to go.
Saying Ja's their third best
Yeah.
player?
Y'all say
Well, he's
that
not
for me.
anymore. He's their second best now.
We appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. That is our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. That is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Carilla. That is our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS
We'll be
Mavs,
live tomorrow.
past, present,
Big week
and future.
around here, everybody. Surprises abound.
For me, at least. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.